Excuse me.
Whenever you get it, you need to calculate it. Unless I have to. If I have to.
Alright, where's everybody at on these? First, we'll start with the, community center. Are we ready to vote on that, or time?
My question is, do we have to do it? Can we, or how long does it take the state commission? Because that's been, I mean, I guess I don't know when they appeal.
Our other appeal, well, I feel like will be heard again not by October, because we had things that, we have a schedule, so things, exhibits had to be sent in by the end of July, or end of June. You have the opportunity for rebuttals till the end of July, and then there's, I don't know, one or two other little things. So there's a schedule that's gone with. So, you know, I had to submit to state, she had to submit to state, you know, so I feel like probably October we're gonna be having a hearing. So, and the hearing will be held here. So, yeah, they come to the county.
The Board of Equalization handbook states specifically, parties may appeal to BOE each year. If the party appeals to the BOE in odd year and then appeals to the State Tax Commission, the State Tax Commission will notify the county if they will determine the valuation of the property for both odd and even year, last year and this year. The taxpayer will not have to appear before the board in the even year. If the property does not proceed to the State Tax Commission in the odd year, the party may appear before the BOE again in an even year. So I stand with my standing that that was unnecessary, personally. With being as there's an appeal with the State Tax Commission at this point, it's not necessary to appeal to the board again pending that, decision. Personally, I think we've made a decision on this twice already. It's under appeal at State Tax Commission.
I just feel like they have more knowledge than I've got, whether it is or isn't, I guess. I mean, if we can wait on them to tell us.
Where are we on this personal property, or the property tax? Yeah, personal property.
Personal property.
Yeah, it seems like, is that a different issue then?
Well, you have personal property and you have real estate. Real
Yeah.
estate's the building
Yeah.
and such. So personal property is like the fitness center equipment.
Right.
And that valuation went down. It went from 20-some thousand down to 16,000 because of the depreciation.
I understand
It
that.
wasn't a big change. But they're both things have been appealed for 2015. And she was following up today with 2016's values.
But if it's gone down.
But they're not questioning value, they're questioning the exemption. The class is what they're pursuing. And so when you want to take money off the books for the county, I mean, you answer to everybody, not just this group. And that's why I felt compelled to say, let them pursue it, because there's people with more education than I am in interpreting that. I, as an assessor, could have made that call easy enough before, and never went through any of this. I didn't feel comfortable making that decision. I've had others come in and say, well, why would they be tax exempt? So I have both ends of the spectrum to answer to. And if I'm gonna make a decision, I wanna make sure I'm right. Well, there's a loophole for me because the State Tax Commission, and I can call and ask for advice, but I can still render my decision either way. But if they want to appeal it, then that advice is taken into consideration. She's going to present her case with them as well or better than what she did today. And that's what I want, because the 501c3 and the sales tax exempt says right on there, she presents you that copy, but it says right in there, exemption for IRS code, or qualification requirement, but not for sales or real estate and personal property tax. So that's where my little grind gets in there, is because those things are good to have in place, and you have to have them in place to set that, but it's not the whole piece of the pie. And so putting this on a hearing officer, which is an attorney that interprets the law, takes it off the back of all of us, because we're letting someone render a decision that sees the whole pie. You know, versus, I think it's a wonderful place, and I hope they don't think I have tried to pick on them, because I think they do add a lot to our community. I don't think it's taking anything away to say that you guys aren't making that decision. I think you're trying to make it with the best knowledge that you have. And I don't, I feel like.
I think it's the same as it always has been, and she presented a good argument to this. But the very first prong of this test is property must be actually and regularly used exclusively for charitable purpose. I don't see it as exclusively charitable.
She handed you guys a schedule of events there for 2016. I don't know if it's changed from the one I've got this on.
It's just updated very.
I mean, I know it's rented for funeral dinners, it's rented for wedding receptions, I know it's, and there's a possibility this could go two different ways. This could get a partial exemption as well, because, okay, if you want to use a fitness center as education only, but I know the front side is not strictly education. They rent the facilities for lots of different purposes, and I don't know if they list those on there or not.
Burlington Northern Railroad is
Yeah, yeah.
See that on there. These are just the ones that they either discounted or sponsored. Donated to the borough. I've heard the deal, uphold our decision that was made, uphold the assessor's decision, and pending the outcome of the state tax commission appeal.
She says it's costing you guys, this hearing officer is not costing us to have to come here. I have not hired an attorney to back myself up. I felt like I knew my story better than I could get an attorney to interpret it.
Either way, it's under appeal. I mean, they're.
What's holding it up is
Personal property.
their money is sitting in escrow now for 2015 taxes and has not been dispersed to the taxing entities. So the school has not received their portion of the pie. The ambulance hasn't received their portion of the pie. Truthfully, who is it really costing? If that appeal goes in favor of me, it's costing those entities that haven't received their funds.
I was involved in the community center, it was just a dream. And the whole purpose of doing it was because nobody else could do it.
Because of what?
Nobody else would do it. We weren't going to rely on the city or the county to put the building up. From day one, we tried to figure out how to make it without this membership. I guess I should say also, I've been involved in it in almost 2 years. It was prior to your first hearing. I had other things, commitments with work and things, but they did try to do the education thing. I mean, that was the topic of our conversations in many of our board meetings that we had for years, even before the thing was constructed, was how we're gonna educate tobacco-free, healthy living. What was the most important things to get people to start losing weight and thinking about their health and things, and I couldn't tell you exactly when, but there was a questionnaire that went out, I believe, to every box, every person in the community, to give us your opinion on, what would you like to see. membership thing is just to try to keep the thing afloat, because they're not asking for tax dollars to keep, you know, to keep the doors open. The event side, you know, we're building this building, how can we help, again, substitute income to try to drive those memberships down? That's my opinion on the membership thing and what the purpose was in the beginning.
The thing though, with renting it out for other, and correct me if I'm wrong, but for other activities like BNSF and different things like that, I know it helps offset the membership costs and things like that. But to me, it's no different than like the nutrition site renting out their apartment. You know, it helps fund their activities or whatever, but they're still renting that out.
And they pay for that.
And it's not exclusively charitable at that point.
It didn't not just Columbus and the American Legion rent theirs out too?
I don't know, we're not discussing the American Legion, Knox, Columbus.
Those guys are exempt.
Thoughts?
I mean, I'd like to see them at least offer a discounted rate for the needy. I know they said they set their rate at a low rate, but who are they to judge who can afford and who cannot? And there's nothing in place for that. And I know I have senior citizens, I've had several people say to me, well, I can't belong to it, I can't afford it. You know, and they can't afford to use something or pay for something that they may not be able to use. So, and that question was presented to them at one time, and they said their rate's low enough that anyone can afford it. But we know we have a number of poverty income families here. There's nothing in place that discounts those. They're not owned by a public entity. That's another thing that I see as a stipulation, you know. They have a private board, and that board can make the decisions today to raise those memberships or lower those, you know. What's their criteria? It could go either way. But I don't have to vote, I just present what I see, and I know I answer to a number of people, not just those members. I hope that none of them have taken this as a personal issue, because it shouldn't be. We're trying, you know, again, you know, she said, you know, what message are you sending by saying that it can be tax exempt? You bring other things in here. Well, honestly, if you put a tax abatement out there, you get everybody in here for a few years to get tax-free, then they're gone. That's, their county has seen that. So I think it's a great thing for our community, for those that live here and reside here and want to participate in it, but I don't think it's exclusive charitable educational use.
You ready to make a decision on this?
So do we have to make a decision? That's my question.
Honestly, I don't know. Because I don't know why we would. To me, the decision should be,
Well, she has appealed today, she's appealing for personal property for the building. And I think, yes, I think you do need to
that's
render a
something to keep in
decision.
mind as well. It's only dealing with chairs, tables, kitchen equipment, exercise equipment.
Fitness equipment and that sort of stuff. I don't know if you've got your packet or not, see where
Dumbbells.
well, she didn't put the assessment list in there, did she, for the personal property? But that is what her appeal is today, is for personal property, and I don't feel like you should give her a decision.
But it's not about the valuation, it's about,
exempting that personal property,
Personal property.
because
Which is still under appeal of the state tax commission.
It is.
It says in here that they don't
Not
have
for
to.
But
this
it's a good-
year.
It's a good follow-up. I agree, it's a good follow-up to
To make
say,
sure
we haven't
she
let
goes-
the loophole.
yeah.
Because real estate is on a 2-year cycle. Real estate is every year, and it changes every year. So I see where she's coming from. to bring her personal property issue up again.
Even then, on that, you know,
But when
the
that
state
gets,
tax commission will notify the county, they will determine the valuation of the property for both odd and even year.
exactly, so when a
So
decision
your
gets rendered
appeal
at this
is-
state appeal,
It's already
and
done.
she's right, I could come in the next year and change my mind and say, well, I have to take it off this year, but I'm gonna make them go through this all over again. Although I already know, my decision is, I wanted a firm decision with knowledgeable people answering those questions, do they qualify for that
Theoretically,
exemption?
you could do the same thing if the board of
I could-
equalization made this.
With any decision you all make, I could do that same thing.
So whether we make the decision or the state tax commission makes a decision, it's still the same issue. My question is, you know, if we, the appeal's pending, if we were to say rule in favor of them, and then the state tax commission comes through and says, no, we're not exempt, where does that leave us? I think, this is a very odd situation.
Question. So this decision is just for personal property for just 2016?
Exactly,
Just to clarify,
yes,
just personal property for just 2016?
yes, exactly.
Okay. Writing it down.
What's hers appeal? Her appeal form says, although she's written the real estate on here, she wrote the parcel number for the real estate on here, but that's where it's located. And then she's got the personal property number, record number. They've put the values for both real estate and personal property on her form. But in her statements today, it was for the personal property.
Mm-hmm. That's what,
I think we need to uphold the assessor's decision of non-exempt and follow through with the appeal of the state tax commission. Or everybody else is, but that's, seems like the most logical thing to do at this point.
I agree.
So are we voting now or what?
I just make a statement.
Oh, okay.
Are we ready to make a decision as a board?
No more.
Roger?
Yeah.
Are you ready to make a decision, or do we need more discussion, or?
No, I'm-
Roll call?
Yeah, we'll see how we wanna make the decision. Let's. I don't remember exactly how it is. I guess we'll make a decision whether or not to grant exemption on personal property for the 2016 tax year. All those in favor of exemption, state aye. Those opposed, nay.
Yeah, we're going to exempt them.
If you
Yes.
vote aye, it will be voting for an exemption. And nay, would be voting to uphold the assessor's decision as well as ours from last year.
And then they will appeal with,
They've already, like I said, they've already got an appeal.
right, but
do we do another
for
one?
last year's.
Yeah,
That actually counts for last year's and this year's. That's what I'm saying. It just doesn't,
yeah.
it was unnecessary.
I have,
Typically, you appeal your personal property every year, yes, if your value
Had
changes
the-
or.
Right, because
Yeah.
had
Or
the
if you don't
state
file
had
an appeal
ruled,
with the
had the
state.
state had ruled prior to this meeting, it would have been for 15 and
in
16.
16, yes, and I have
And there would have
email
been no
from hearing
reason.
officers telling you that. John True was one of them, and then I contacted Randolph County, and he asked the same question to another hearing officer, and the same one, if someone appeals their 2015 value in a timely manner to the County Board of Equalization, which they have, and the State Tax Commission, and they have, and STC has yet to have a hearing set for 2015 on their property, should they appeal their 2016 values? The answer for that is for real property without new improvements in 2015, the STC decision, whatever it may issue, will address both 15 and 16 assessment years.
For real property,
For
but
real
personal property is every year.
The other one answered with if an estate appeal was filed regarding parcel assessments for 2015 and is still pending, there is no need for 2016 DOE hearing, as STC will make a decision for both years.
But
So that's,
does that mean personal property?
he just says regarding
I mean,
parcels
they've
assessment.
got two separate appeals
They
pending.
have two separate appeals
One for
pending.
personal and one for real, anyway.
So, and it's an insurance step, because, okay, let's say 2015 has been heard, and 2016 rolls around, and I decide, okay, it affects the years for real estate for 15 and 16. Let's say for a scenario, I say 16, I'm gonna put them back on again. They've already set their appeal today. They've been heard. So, but without a decision rendered, how can I sit here and say, well, I'm gonna not exempt your, we're in a catch-22. So, they did it for their own protection to let everyone know that they are still appealing for an exemption. So regardless what that hearing says, I can't come back and say, okay, I'm gonna change my mind, what they decided, I'm gonna do it my way anyway. And they're right, and it's a good step. I commend them for following through.
No further discussion, we'll proceed with the vote. We'll call the roll.
Beth,
Nay.
now I is for exemption, nay is for not.
Correct. Everyone clear on that?
And this is personal.
Okay, Eric,
Nay.
Mike,
Aye.
Evan,
Nay.
Roger,
Aye.
nays have it.
We'll move on to the Council on Aging, specifically the nutrition site. At the current time, the cafeteria, I guess, or whatever, the bottom floor is currently exempt, correct? And the apartments were not because they were in use.
Yes.
Being rented out.
Being rented out.
Being rented.
Yeah, for-
Yeah, I understand that she's saying that in order to rent them, it's gonna take quite a bit of investment to bring them up to date and make them decent places to live. So their board has decided they are not going to rent them.
If, say for instance, an exemption is granted and 2 years down the line, they have new board members or whatever who decide to rent those out if they have money issues, whatever the case may be, would that, at that time, you would put that back on the tax rolls?
Yes, I would. If they do remodeling and updating and condition changes, I mean, you can tell from the roof and those poles holding the ceiling up, they're gonna have to do something. But if they do a condition change and then put people in there and collect off of it, yes, I would.
live there. Some people might.
I would.
See how it fit in with the Franciscan test, but, like I said, the main floor is already exempt, which has been found to be exempt due to that. So the top floor, if it's not being rented out, is same thing.
And they fall under the charitable purposes because they do charitable, these donations will come in and eat the meal and so forth and so on. And they fall under the Council of Aging. It's just not Knox County Nutrition Site and a private board. They fall under the Council of Aging.
And they're federally and state funded.
Mhm.
Do you have a recommendation?
I would go along with it. If you're curious to know what kind of revenue we're talking about, they're paying $73.78 in tax for that top floor.
Any discussion or questions? Is everyone ready to render a decision on this matter?
I am.
We'll do this the same way. Those in favor of an exemption will vote aye. Those opposed will vote nay.
Beth? Aye. Eric?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Evan?
Aye.
And Roger?
Aye. Alright, we will get, letters sent out to each entity and notifying them of our decision. I believe if we'll have a motion to adjourn.
So be it. A motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.